Hello everyone, and now welcome to game 1 in a set between Apollo's AK and Rex here on Whirlwind. This will be a Zerg versus Zerg taken from the round robin play of the Taiwan Esports League TESL. Rex spawning as the blue Zerg in the top left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, AK spawning as the red Zerg on the bottom left hand side of the map. Both of these overlords will be crossing each other in the night, and they will be able to quickly reposition themselves in order to know when Zerglings will be coming in. Most likely you will see this overlord perhaps land itself off over here and after coming into this location. And what you normally do is you normally stagger your overlords so you have a good idea of what your opponent is doing. Now, I am curious to see whether these players will be playing aggressively or defensively, and will they perhaps be trying to set up a hatchery first, or will they be going for a spawning pool hatch here on Whirlwind, since Whirlwind is one of the larger maps. Overlord now positioning itself, will be able to spot its opponent in just a second. There is the other Overlord, and you can already see AK changing direction on this Overlord, and this Overlord changing directions as well. Drone now making its way down onto the low ground. Meanwhile, AK deciding to set up a spawning pool first. So it is going to be a spawning pool first versus a hatchery first. And I like this play by AK. AK knows that perhaps he will fall slightly behind economically speaking, but he also knows that he will have much earlier map control because of those early Zerglings. Now, what we are going to be seeing next is a drone being pulled to grow up and be a hatchery. Oh, it has already happened. Meanwhile, down over here, you can see that Rex is about a 35-second favorite in terms of the expansion race. Overlord Rex does spot AK's hatchery, knows that it is just a little bit later, and doesn't even need to look inside his opponent's base to figure out what's going on. He knows that the spawning pool is most likely already down, and we already see an extractor come in from AK as well. Now, Zerg versus Zerg has really turned into a rock, paper, scissors during the early game at Tier 1. Zerglings beating Roaches, Roaches beating Banelings, Banelings beating Zerglings overall. But it's not as much about who does the most damage it's not about too much about Tier 1 as it is Tier 2. Tier 2 with those Mutalisks really makes a big impact. It's all about who can get to Tier 2 faster without sacrificing too much in Tier 1. If you get to Tier 2 faster, but by the time you get to Mutalisks, you're down to one base and perhaps one gas, you are not going to survive. If you're able to get enough Zerglings and enough Roaches, save your gas for a strong Mutalisk count, then if you have a 2 to 3 Mutalisk advantage over your opponent, that tends to build up rather quickly. Also, another way to get ahead is getting that Carapace upgrade, that armor upgrade on those Mutalisks, as the armor upgrade essentially reduces the amount of damage that a Mutalisk does by 3 because of the reduction in the total glaive worm damage, as opposed to just trying to get a level 1 weapons upgrade, which really only benefits the primary target and sometimes the second target. AK now looking to get perhaps a couple of Banelings out onto the field. Zerglings are already in position, now making their way off to the north. AK is down by 10 supply. This is looking very poor, but at the same time, what do we have here? 24 drones versus 20, and a lot more Zerglings by Rex. Rex gonna try and win this war with Zerglings. Meanwhile, AK is trying to run slim, and what we're gonna see is whether or not the Banelings do in fact deal enough damage. You can see the Zerglings are trying to make their way back in here. Metabolic boost being completed on both sides, and the Zerglings of Rex may simply be able to walk up this ramp and do terrible damage. Banelings now making its way in over here. What is going to be happening? There are some Banelings, and oh, that Baneling only gets off 2 kills there. Not quite enough, as this Zergling, or the group of Zerglings, is just trying to take down more units here. Double Queens now on the ramp. The drones now being pulled off to engage. Spinecrawler now coming in as well. And what is going to be happening next? Rex now down to 43 supply, as AK now up to 48. after defending against that attack extremely well. Income 30 harvesters to 20, all in favor of AK, as we now see the Zerglings once more engaging. The Zerglings now looking to back off, only a handful left. 5 of them now looking to perhaps regroup and retreat, as we now see a swarm of, or I believe just 2 Banelings now trying to make their way in. Those Banelings could in fact deal a lot of damage to those Zerglings. If you're able to catch 5 or 7 Zerglings with 1 Baneling, that is a huge efficient trade, as that Baneling gets overexcited and detonates a bit too quickly. Alright, there you go. There is the cancellation on a couple there. Not quite sure if I agree with sacrificing 2 Banelings for that sheer minimal amount of damage, as we're going to see more Banelings still falling in. Zerglings now trying to chase after those, or trying to chase after these queens, as the Banelings are still doing a little bit of a hit. AK now sitting at 48 supply, Rex sitting at 41. Zerglings now trying to make a run inside the base. Is it going to be enough? Some of the Zerglings are not engaging. This is not what you want to be seeing, as the Zerglings now need to run and turn around, get a couple more hit and run tactics off. So far, those Zerglings need to get back down onto the low ground, as the Zerglings are going to get spewed or clipped away there by another overzealous Baneling, but he did finish all of them off. Harvester count is currently sitting at 30 versus 23. And here, do you try to follow it up with a large army, or do you spend all of those larvae on units? Both of them are very good options at this point. It is just a matter of trying to read your opponent and figure out what your opponent is going to do, as the queens now being brought over. Queens will get cleaned up, as we still have Rex in at 46 supply compared to 53. This is still anyone's game, as there's only a 4 worker advantage between these two. Zerglings, a dozen of them ready to sneak on by. Is it going to be enough? 3 more Banelings now. No, 1 more Baneling now coming out ready to go, as the Banelings are now being brought over. Simply 2 Banelings. Are they going to perhaps be able to land the necessary hit to take down all of these Zerglings? The Zerglings now morphing into Banelings again, trying to test that front door, but knows that he pretty much has no chance. Zerglings, oh, what is this? 1 Baneling going to try and crash itself here. The Zerglings could attempt to take it down, and yes, it is going to go ahead and take it down there, as more Banelings are now coming in. 60 versus 61. Banelings getting in some huge splash hits, but the Banelings did not find those Zerglings. Meanwhile, you can see that the Banelings are just going to be running straight up inside this mineral line, taking down a lot of units there, and perhaps taking down some drones. 7 workers killed, and I do not believe that is enough. We are in terms even on supply, even though we have a 10 worker advantage for AK. Zerglings now running around here. What is going to be happening? You can see that the Zerglings are trying to make their way inside. Banelings and Zerglings are in position once more. And what are these Banelings really hoping to do? Down over here, you can see the Zerglings are ready to go. Back over here, Banelings and Zerglings are now pushing in, as the Banelings are hoping to catch some of those Zerglings again. All right, what's going to be happening now? Banelings backing off. You can see one Baneling here. It is going to go ahead and try and detonate on the inside. How much damage can it really do? It does not have any weapons upgrade, so it does not take out any units at all. So far, this has really been a strong game for AK. AK has pretty much found his opponent every step of the way, as we now see Zerglings trying to take down a couple of Banelings. All right, are the Zerglings going to be able to take down the Banelings in time? Yes, 1 does go. Trading 2 Zerglings for 1 Baneling, always a very good trade, as we now have Rex looking to back off again. Zerglings off to the north. AK sitting at an 81 to 64 supply advantage. Rex is now behind. He's down by 12 supply, and things are not looking up for him at all. 46 drones versus 42. A third base already coming in from AK, as we now see Zerglings about to engage here. They cannot hope to take down that hatchery, though, as there are Zerglings nearby enough to finish off those Zerglings if they try and focus down a building as opposed to focusing down other units. Mudos now looking to join in on the fight, and yes, they have taken to the skies. AK already winning this science war, and now attempting to take down the Queen. The Queen suffering a little bit of damage, as the Queen has been taken down. More Queens now coming over, but the Queen count is simply too high. AK with over 10 Mutalisk here should be able to take down multiple drones and perhaps even some roaches. There you have it. There's the GG as Rex has to throw in the towel early. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoy game 2 in this set between Rex and AK.